Hey guys, welcome to Skipper Surf Review. I'm Yuri Tsudenov, and today I'm going to review by far my favorite twin-fin, Album Plasmic. Also, in this episode, I'm going to share my conversation with Matt Parker, where we talk about Album Plasmic as well as Twinsman model. Hope you enjoy this episode. And by the way, guys, if you like my reviews, please subscribe. This will really help this channel to grow. This is 5.5 Album Plasmic, has about 31-32 liters of volume, and comes with a swallowtail, really fishy outline, and a little bit like a wing here, like right on the rail, allowing this board to pivot much easier. So, and I put into this board around 5-6 sessions. I only have like some really minor foot impressions right in this area, which means my feet land in the right spot. And if you turn around, you can see the fin boxes right below it, which allows me to control the board right from the takeoff immediately. It also comes with a really nice deep double barrel concave channel, allowing this board to have a really grippy feelings when you go down the line and trying to do any turn. I surf this board in small conditions, and also a little bit the waves had a little bit more size. The smallest conditions I would go on it when the swell is around 3 feet at 7 seconds. That's when I was able to push the board through some really sloppy, weak waves. And if I had the board in a little bit bigger size, 5.7, 5.8, and I wish I could have another one, I would probably cover much smaller conditions. But for much smaller conditions, I have another Plasmic. This is the extended version of this model. It has a original diamond tail, and if you want to watch review on this board, I will leave the link in the description below. And last, I want to talk about the fins. So I set up initially with a Kilaipa twin fin set, worked pretty good, and later on I decided to use NVS Apex twin fin set, and to be honest, it got a little bit more drive, more speed, and I started to have a little bit better regrab after I came back to the pocket, and I would have a little bit better projection down the line. So far I like this twin fin set, but for the extended version, I would probably use the IPA twin fin set. This will allow me to have a little bit more stability when I go for floater or I land on some mush. So I feel like with this twin fin set, had a little bit shaky feelings versus this one. So something to consider. And now I'm going to share my conversation with Matt Parker. And by the way, guys, this video is not biased and not sponsored by any brand or company. Hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you soon. Hey, hello.
What's happening?
Yeah, not much. How was the session?
That was good, fun. It's a little bit windy, but swell at least, so no complaints.
Yeah, I kept checking the forecast for California. I was like, should I go or not? And so, but then I see the camera, I was like, there's so many people out there now.
Oh yeah.
Spots, but I think the summer is on.
No, forget about it. It's at Lowers and Trestles area where I surf. At Lowers today, I think there was like 85 guys out or something crazy. So
yeah, it's not too maxed out yet, but it is.
It's ridiculous. I know. At least it's warming up though. So it's, you guys are probably still got some cold water out there.
Yeah, it's around 65. It's not too bad. I think it's living
the same as here.
Yeah. By the way, thank you so much for taking the time to have this call with me.
Yeah, no worries. I love seeing all the clips and the footage and stuff. It's fun.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I really enjoy pushing out some new content and doing these things just for fun.
Awesome. That's cool.
Okay, so we have Plasmic, and then I also have questions about Twinsman. When I look at this picture and then just compare two boards, it looks to me same pretty much. The outline a little bit. I think the Plasmic is a little bit wider than Twinsman. I'm not sure if the picture was a little bit shrinked.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're taken from different perspectives. They like if you held one in your hand, the the outline of the Twinsman is a little bit more trim. It's not as full and it's not as wide in the nose and not as wide in the tail. Mm-hmm. And it has a pretty different deck profile. Like the deck profile on the Twinsman is almost flat, basically concave in the deck. Mm-hmm. And so it changes the way the rails feel. Your Plasmic deck profile is fairly flat, but then it kind of slopes down on the rail. It doesn't have like a real chined edge to it.
So basically it's a little bit, it's beefier than Twinsman, and Twinsman will go with more performance.
Yeah, it's that probably comes from the rocker though, because the Twinsman is still foam friendly for sure, but it probably comes more at it like a hybrid, whereas the Plasmic comes at it more like a fish in how the foam is kind of distributed through the board. Little, just like that width in the tail and just kind of overall volume is in the Plasmic is packed pretty tight. And with the Twinsman, it's maybe packed under your feet a little bit, like maybe under the middle of the board and kind of where you stand, not as much in the nose and stuff. But
I was just trying to see if I should get Twinsman to cover different, I guess, wave range, or will it still overlap the waves I surf? And I also sent you the clips. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them.
I haven't watched them yet, but I would say maybe for you, like since you have the Plasmic there that kind of covers some of that small range in a Twinsman, for you, maybe you do like a round pin version. That's a little bit stretched out, that gives you a little bit more rail, but still twin fin feel. It's still like it's definitely, there's not a performance ceiling on that board. Like if you watch the clips of Josh surfing it, like if he does any turn he would ever do on his highest performance surfboard, his shortboard, but he's doing it on a twin fin. So
to be honest, when I watch Josh, I won't even notice the difference in terms. If it comes to Plasmic or Twinsman, for me it's like the same board, because it's amazing, and he corrects the mistakes on its way. For me, I only rely mostly on the board to fix my mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, the other major differences between these two boards are the bottoms are significantly different. The Plasmic has that real defined little slot bonzer channel, and the Twinsman is more of like a single to double concave to a pretty pronounced V off the back little wing area. So,
which one would go rail to rail better, Twinsman or Plasmic?
Twinsman is going to go quicker rail to rail, and the Plasmic is going to be more down the line projection, like acceleration and kind of flow through flat spots. Twinsman is like you drop in and it like wants to drive back up into the lip, and then go back to ride with performance, just straight like do turns and come back to the pocket, and versus I guess Plasmic that you will have more advantage going down the line. Yes. I mean, a Twinsman will keep flow because it is foam friendly. Like if you want to just like let it run and just kind of carry speed, it definitely will do that. But the sensation you get when you're on it is you feel like, oh, this thing wants me to push it. It wants to be surfed. And so you kind of just naturally start shredding a little bit more because it just is like asking you to do it. Even though it does keep speed, that's what's unique about it, is that shortboards really require you to go rail to rail to generate speed and to keep it going. And the
gotta work.
Yeah, the Twinsman, it kind of like relieves that pressure of having to wiggle, but it still lets you do that because it just is a performance feeling board, but you don't have to work as hard. So,
all right, I guess, I mean, I'm really tempted now to get Twinsman with the round pin tail. I guess it was going to give me a little bit more hold on steeper waves. Plus, I can do more roundy turns and less worry about some, unexpected slide.
It still feels like a twin fin, but most people that get on one, they're surprised at how much they can push it. Because a lot of times people are used to twin fins feeling a little bit like they want to spin out a little bit, or they're kind of like they're not as confident on their bottom turn. Mm-hmm. But because the fins are placed further back under your back foot, you can push them as hard as you want. And they're not going to spin out on you. So,
pretty sold. I think I'm not going to get with the swallowtail. I already have a swallowtail. I'm going to get around that.
I just think to vary your quiver, and like especially if you're going into point breaks up in the Northeast, that version is goes so good, especially in hurricane swell, or it's like your legitimate step up that you can surf so much easier.
That's where I'm actually, I think, missing something more close to the shortboard, high performance shortboard, but not too much work. I have that, I think, Dominator 2, a Firewire, that wanted to work like nonstop. No, so I guess Twinsman will be a little bit stepped down there, so I can, be more relaxed.
Yeah, if you watch footage of Josh riding it, it's really the in between where you notice, like in all the maneuvers, his turns look as good as they would look on any board, and he's totally freed up on rail. But the in between stuff, when he's like going from section to section, that's where you notice like where he's relaxed, and like it's just so your style kind of naturally gets better because you're not having to like stress to the next section, right?
That's a lot. And what would be the advantage of Plasmic over Twinsman? Which waves? You think like more mushy waves or?
Yeah, I think for me, like when the Plasmic has this like squirt to it, right? Where you can like, you feel the water flowing through that no drag through the fin area, and you get the lift from that channel where the tail feels freed up. So you kind of get this sensation like you can kind of skate all over the place. So I like it in waves that are kind of lacking energy. There's not a lot to them because I can maneuver the board around the wave, even though the wave isn't providing the juice. But I don't know if you've had yours out in good waves yet. But
I mean, only, I guess, I don't know. I don't think, what do you mean by good waves? Good waves, things. I mean, if you talk about California good waves, I don't think I ever surfed good waves. I think maybe this weekend or next week I will get a chance.
I would call it like head high and like moving pretty quickly.
Oh, just probably shoulder high. That's the max. And in the clips I sent you, they're probably a little bit closer to some size, maybe to shoulder. And I felt like I don't have to work on speed when I have, I mean, in any board pretty much, but on Plasmic it was so much easier to go. All I had to worry about, okay, let me just do turn here, or okay, I'll come back. What's next? Like I don't have to pump crazy to keep up with the wave. Even the waves are fast on the East Coast. Still, it's just enough to be more relaxed and surf it. But I noticed with Plasmic, it has that sticky aspect. Like it holds the wave on the top of the wave. When it's steep, I paddle and I still have a few seconds to make a drop. Like it just, and then once I drop, it's not wiggling at all. It's just still sticking and just waiting for you to do the next move.
Yeah, when your feet on the board, when your feet are over, like when your back foot is over the fins and this little slot channel, when you're light and your weight on it, the board is going to run, and that's when it's going to feel lift and going to feel really free down the line. But as soon as you really stomp that back foot over the fins and really push the tail through a turn, that's when that little channel accelerates the water like through that area faster, and so you get like this grippy kind of feeling. So that's why I asked if you'd had it in good waves yet, because if you ever do get it in good surf and you get a nice open face with some energy, when you really put that thing on rail and push it, it like grips, in my opinion, better than a traditional fish does because of that.
I don't know if you don't mind to open that file that I sent you.
I just watched number 4 right there.
4. That's the wave I think it's probably the medium conditions, the worst conditions I would take Plasmic out, when it's like really wind swell, weak, kind of sloppy. And it makes me to work on speed, but it's still going. I mean, I would still probably work on different boards the same way, but I like it that it just, when you want to turn, it turns and still projects, and you finish up always. I would probably land most of the time all floaters or re-entries.
I just watched clip number 5. You had a nice turn on that one. You got in early and kind of like faded the takeoff, and then had like a nice little zing turn to it, which was, you could see that that was where you could see the lift and the kind of carry and the friction free feeling, because wasn't drag through that turn at all. I'm just watching number 3 right now. Pull number 2. Ooh, we got a little bit of offshores in the morning here.
I was just one day, once a month, maybe. We pray.
That looks good. That looks fun. I'd take that. It's probably freezing though. I'm gonna watch it again. The real key with backside is kind of tucking that back knee in a little bit and getting your back heel like right over the inside of the back rake of the twin fin. That's really that sweet spot backside on a 20, because that lets you really drive and hook. And if you kind of tuck that back knee just a little bit more, it lets your hips turn and open up. And so you can really drive through the bottom turn and look up that face a little bit more. But that looks good. You have a good flow on that one.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the clips I kind of wanted to share, because most of the time, the reviews coming from the shaper or from the company who built the board, they mention, hey, this is the waves, it's for small waves, and then small waves for instance for California, it's are really kind of good for different standards in general. And it's so hard to make a decision on any board you purchase. And one of the things that I kind of was I was motivated to start my reviews to show people on the East Coast how the board works. From different shapers. And
that's good. That's good because it's more realistic. You're showing like day to day. This is like, this is the difference between knee to waist and waist to chest, and a little bit of wind cell. You can just it's more. I think it's more relatable.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the last thing is about Plasmic. I feel like you can go bigger in size and not lose much performance, because I got the 7.2 and I was like, the only board was available on the website, and I wanted the shorter version so bad, and then I saw the 7.2 and I'm like, all right, whatever, like let me try to see what's gonna happen with this board. And then when you touch, feel it, it's beefy, and I didn't even realize that this board will be still drivey. Once you put in the water, you kind of have that flow, glide, and then the speed. It just a few rail to rail moves, and it's already racing.
The real difference with the stretched out Plasmics compared to like another mid length, a lot of like standard mid lengths or eggs, you surf more like from the middle trim of the board. But with the Plasmic, you can stand on the tail, like the big ones. Like I've got one right here. I'll show you. It's an ASIM one, but it's a 7.6.
Wow.
You see it?
Nice. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one I've been riding a bunch.
Uh-huh.
It's just slightly ASIM in the fin setup, but it's big. It's 7.6 and it's beefy.
7.6, that's a big boy, yeah.
And it's like you can like, but if your back foot is on the right over the fins, it's really unique. Like to be able to throw a turn and drive through a turn on a board like that with that much nose in front of you. It's pretty weird. It's pretty fun.
And then my Plasmic is forgiving. I feel like even my feet don't land in the right spot, you can still get good speed. But for the turn, of course, you need to move a little further down. I think more forgiving going backside versus frontside. Frontside, it's a little, you need to be more precise with my back foot.
I've made a 6.8. I surfed a 6.8 round pin version of it too. I surf that all the time. That's a really versatile board. It's almost like a little tube shooter. The guys, Mike and Jesse from here, when they were out in New York this past fall, I think they were out there. They took it out there and got pretty good waves, and we're getting tubes out like in your area with it. It's like a 6.8. It's kind of a mid, not as stretched out as yours and pulled in a little bit, but still pretty thick.
Yeah.
So
But I feel like maybe I should go with the smaller version, but at the same time, I feel like, I don't know, it just still okay. 7.2 gives me a wide range of waves. I pretty much everything I can surf on that, like any mush, like wind swells, or even big days. Like it handles really well. But I'm gonna look into the Twinsman now in general.
Yeah, that'd be a good. I think that just to vary from your quiver, that would be good. As far as like another thing with the bigger plasmics is you can go thinner. Like you don't need to go real thick. Like I shaped myself a 7.2 that's less than 2.5 thick, which is really technically thin for a board that length. But because of how the foam is distributed, it feels a little fuller than I actually would say, but it makes it has all the speed and carry, but it's so nimble under your feet. It's really trippy. Because like with that bottom channel really deep, the tail is really kind of thin if the overall thickness isn't very much. It's a lot of sensitivity in a long rail, which is just a fun feeling, really unique feeling.
But I mean, what I kind of like about 7.2 is like it's beefy, right? And then I can kind of paddle almost as a longboard on this. Like,
yeah,
it gets that early feelings. Like you start paddling early on not the mid length that I have. If I start paddling early, I'm gonna miss the wave most of the time. I have to really sit as close as I can to shortboard, like in the lineup. On the 7.2, I can start paddling way early and still get that projection, like once, to get in. Do you think if I go with a 6.8, I will still have it, or it will be probably less?
You'll lose a little bit of it because it doesn't have as much just overall glide. But that's what I'm saying. You could almost go like something similar in length and just thin it out a little bit, and you still would have that kind of carry and glide just because of the surface area. Yeah. But you'd get a little bit more sensitivity. So they're fun. They're so.
I know it's a lot of fun.
That's always the problem. There's just not enough days to surf for all the boards you want to try and ride, right?
Yeah, but I mean, now since I started to have more boards, I go in the conditions that I would never go.
Yeah.
Use and for the review, let me go, and then like, oh, the board works. Like now, I mean, I can surf these conditions with this board. This is like full crap. Like, oh, this board, I know this board works now. I'm taking it out, and I can do a couple turns, even float or just shoot down the line and finish up with the floor. I'm already happy. So
that's awesome.
And last thing is the tail. Do you think I lost something with, because the original has a blunted diamond tail and my short version of Plasmic has swallowtail. Do you think something I lost or something I even got, advantage of?
It's always a trade-off, right? Because like the blunted diamond tail is going to give you more room for your back foot to be all the way back on the tail block, and it's going to have a little bit more planing area. But then the reverse of that, it's a little bit more board to sink and drive through a turn. So the benefit of the swallow is that there's not as much board there, and when you're on rail, you can really sink that tail through the turn, and so it's going to feel probably a little more carvy, a little bit more on rail. But maybe, I mean, it's kind of a nuanced thing, right? A lot of it is like where you place your back foot. With the blunted diamond tail, you have more room to lock it back. But with the blunted diamond tail, maybe that means you'd have to go a little shorter to kind of take advantage of that. So with the swallow, it's like you get a little bit more paddle power, and it sinks through turns a little bit more. So everything's a trade-off. It's like all a little compromise. There's not one perfect solution because they're each going to be fun in different ways and do things a little bit better or maybe a little worse. So
did you give me a little more advantage in terms of making steeper drops, like surfing steeper waves?
Yeah, because you can jam the tail into the wave. It's gonna fit and sink in a little bit rather than just wanting to sit on top of the water surface. You can be on rail in steeper sections.
How about the wick waves? Would diamond tail give me a little bit? Would I have to work less with the diamond tail in weak waves, you think? Or is it a big difference?
Maybe like 3% difference or something like that. You know what I mean? It's a very nuanced thing, right? Because there's so much of the overall, like the tail is like really like nuance in turns. So like the thing that's doing the work when you're just planing down the line and driving is rocker and how much foam is overall in the surface area. That's what's kind of like making it go.
The most important.
Yeah, really, like when you notice the difference, like if you had two of them identical dimensions, one swallow, one the normal diamond tail, like, and you're in a wave pool with the same wave, then you would feel like, oh, okay, I can feel like a little bit more on rail, a little bit more on edge through this turn, you know? So it's like, but just day to day, like surfing regular waves, you probably wouldn't even.
And my last name is Kerr.
Exactly.
Well, enjoy Costa Rica and have a good time. Safe travels, and thanks again. I wait to get, I guess, more boards and set up my quiver.
Yeah, anytime you have questions, hit me up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Bye.
Okay. See you. Yuri.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like my reviews, please subscribe and also hit the like button and notification bell to not miss the next episode. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, feel free to add me on Instagram. Thank you again for your support, and until next time, goodbye.